Hello, this is Dr. Mike Brooks. I'm a licensed psychologist and the director of the Austin Psychology and Assessment Center, or ApaCenter. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the foundations of happiness, and this is something, a topic that's near and dear to me and I believe in a lot. It's the idea that a lot of times in life when we're suffering or going through various struggles, we're looking for something to help us out that's more complicated or intricate than it needs to be. I like the expression I've heard is don't use a frying pan when you could use a fly swatter. And a lot of times in life we're looking for frying pans to solve our problems and not just using a fly swatter. So I think, and I don't have the exact data to back this up, but I think about 80% of our mental health and our physical health problems could be either resolved or significantly reduced if we worked on the foundations of mental and physical health. And I'm going to go through these today, and we'll start with number one is sleep. As a society, we're not getting near enough sleep. We all need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. For adults, teens need a little more, and children even a little more than that. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, I only need 5 hours of sleep or something like that. Well, the truth is that person is only getting 5 hours of sleep. There's a big difference. We have many distractions nowadays. We have, iPads and our laptops and Facebook and text messaging and Netflix and zillions of things that entertain us, and they can all be good, but balance is very important in life, and when our sleep suffers, we're going to pay the piper. And when we're looking at those more intricate solutions to help us out in life and we're feeling depressed or anxious or more irritable or lethargic, and we're looking at maybe I need a psychiatrist and I need antidepressant medication, maybe I need therapy, or more caffeine or 5-hour energy shots, or Red Bulls, whatever. We're looking at these other things and not paying attention to the bedrock of mental health. And I believe mind, body, spirit, that they're all interconnected. So this is really important, is getting enough sleep, about 7 to 8 hours. And it can do wonders for your mental and physical health. So we'll start with that, sleep. Second is exercise. And like sleep, exercise is as or more effective than antidepressant medication or therapy to improving our well-being. We all need exercise. As a society, we're not getting near enough. For sleep, we're getting more like 6 hours of sleep a night, so we're all suffering 1 to 2 hour sleep deficit per night. For exercise, we're as a society probably getting minutes on each day of vigorous exercise. We're not walking near as much. Now our lives are much more sedentary. We can be at our desk for hours working on our computer, playing games, or on watching TV, and we're driving to work and we only take a few steps into the office and things like that. So we're not walking, and the way we are meant to be is much more active than we are. And this makes me think of the dog whisperer, oddly enough, and if you'll bear with me, the comparison I think has some relevance is Cesar Millan, who's the dog whisperer, and if you've ever watched that show, he can do wonders on helping dogs who are misbehaving get in line. And it's a very gentle approach, and typically people start out with telling their story about how their dog's tearing up their house, and they'll show videos and things like that. When Cesar Millan meets with the person, the first thing he asks is, are you walking your dog? Is your dog getting enough exercise? And he starts there, because working on the other problems isn't worth it unless the dog's getting enough exercise. In effect, the behavioral problems are manifestations of this unmet need of not getting enough exercise. And I believe we're like that. If we're not getting our needs met for sleep and exercise, the effect is more depression, weight gain, anxiety, irritability, problems concentrating, focusing, memory, all those things that are interconnected start with those foundations for mental and physical health. A third one is nutrition, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm a psychologist, but I can say that our bodies are meant to have certain fuel. That's the way we're meant to be. And nowadays we're eating things that our bodies were never meant to consume and try to use as fuel. I like I've heard the expression that if your grandmother would not recognize it as food, you probably shouldn't eat it. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. We have all sorts of artificial colors and flavors and preservatives now in our food. Too much salt, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and we're not eating enough whole grains and fresh fruits and vegetables and lean meats, and it's not that we can never have a burger and fries or shakes. Sure, that has its place and it can be fun. We got Halloween coming up, and candy and stuff. It can all be good, but there's too much of a good thing isn't good, and our lives are out of balance, and we're paying the price in, again, our physical health and our mental health. So focusing on nutrition cannot be underestimated. Now, I'm not talking diet and crazy diets and cleansing and things like that. I'm just talking about the very basics of more fresh fruits and vegetables, and eating more frequent small meals instead of humongous dinners and things like that. And you can do your own research, but there are some agreed upon principles of healthy eating that as a society we're not covering. The fourth of the bedrocks of mental and physical health are personal relationships. About 70% of our happiness in life comes from our relationships with other people. To the extent we're in good relationships with other people and feeling close and connected, we tend to feel happy. And when we're disconnected, when we're in conflict, or we're feeling alienated or isolated, we tend to be unhappy. Think back to your happiest times in life. Most likely these involved other people, and it wasn't watching a rerun of a TV show while you're sitting on the couch. And we were meant to be in relationships. And when we're not acting in according to these basic needs and not getting these basic needs met, again, the effect is depression, anxiety, irritability, lack of fulfillment. So making sure that you carve out times for your personal relationships. A lot of times we think, oh, well, I'll get to it. I'll see that friend. We'll have coffee sometime. You call me, I'll call you. We'll set it up. And it gets pushed to the side, and over time that keeps happening. The cumulative effect is we don't spend near enough time in quality time with friends and family. So that's number 4. The last one I want to talk about is having personal hobbies, or something that gives you a sense of fulfillment. Some type of activity. It could be involved in a recreational kickball league. It could be a book club, or making pottery, or something like that. It could be involved in your church. Or some other spiritual pursuit, but something that you're able to channel your energy and focus that into. Those are things that also get pushed out of our lives because we're too busy, playing on the computer or whatever, or working. And when those things get squeezed out, we lose something very important, and the effect, again, is depression, anxiety, and those sorts of things. So what I want to challenge you, and I think everybody should do this, is pick one of those things and you step back from your life and you say, yeah, I see it's kind of out of balance there. I'm not getting enough sleep. I am only getting about 6 hours. Let's just say that one is you make a concerted effort as an experiment. Just think of it as an experiment of getting around 8 hours of sleep or 7.5 hours of sleep per night for a week, and notice how you feel. Reflect on that. Check in with yourself, and you'll probably notice that as you're getting more sleep that you have a higher energy level, you're more attentive, you remember things better, and there's more pep in your step, and a smile on your face. But check in with yourself. You don't just listen to me, is experientially try these things out as an experiment and then see the effect. And before you reach for, to call the psychiatrist or even a psychologist or therapist, is get those bedrock components to your health in place. And then here's the other part. I know we all struggle at times with other things and say, oh well, yeah, those aren't the solution. I've got bigger problems than that. That may be true, and what I can say is also true. If you're meeting those needs, it's going to make working on whatever other problem is that much easier. So it may not resolve it. Like I said, there are real problems out there that get in our way, but if it can reduce the severity of it by 50%, or we have more of the energy or optimism to take on those challenges, then we're going to be able to make it through it much easier. So again, those 5 components, just to recap, are getting enough sleep, exercise, and exercise is about 45 minutes a day, 30 to 45 minutes about 4 or 5 times a week. Nutrition, spending quality time with friends and family, working on our personal relationship and strengthening those connections. And the last one is having some type of hobby or pursuit that gives you a sense of fulfillment, and often those get us personal connection with other people, so it works on 2 fronts. Well, that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining me. Again, this is Dr. Mike Brooks, licensed psychologist, director of the Austin Psychology and Assessment Center, or ApaCenter. Our website has a lot of information about us, www.apacenter, that's apacenter.com. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.